You must have loads of data on which ones are great and what technologies make the most sense and where provides the best delegate experience to create that engagement. Do you have, you mentioned Slido, are there any other apps that you can talk about?
I'm quite impressed with Glisser.
Glitter?
Glisser.
Glisser, how do you spell that?
Glissr.
Okay.
Glisser has taken the principle of a presentation that you would see on the screen, and then you can see that presentation on your mobile phone. So often, you see people sitting in the audience trying to take photographs of the slides or trying to write the notes down. This is actually some technology that gives you the presentation, and if you want to read it, it also attaches itself to a little bit like Slido, to some voting and feedback.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that's interesting because if I'm sitting there and I can't see the screen because the main screen's way at the front, and the other screens that you have are being used for Twitter hashtags, then I can see it on my phone.
Yeah.
But I guess a client may not use that if they're using multiple screens for the same screen.
Yeah, not everybody likes it. I think some presenters get unnerved by people looking at their phones because they don't know whether they're doing the emails or...
These days they should assume they're tweeting pictures of the...
But it's good to see because the old microphone being handed around. I saw one I quite liked the other day which was a microphone in a sort of box that was designed to be thrown around the room. And I think the more we can get these sort of ideas going, the more it just breaks down the traditional single PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
With the microphone being passed around the room. We've all got to move on.
Well, it keeps people engaged.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so Wi-Fi, to me, or maybe not just myself, but I think Wi-Fi ranks right up there with oxygen these days, because if I don't have Wi-Fi, then I feel like I can't breathe. So how is Wi-Fi with etc.venues?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I honestly think that if I gave the delegates choice of sitting on the floor or having Wi-Fi, they'll go for the Wi-Fi. I mean, I don't want to sit on the floor, by the way, but I think you're absolutely right. It's become incredibly important. I think this is another area where clients can get smarter, I think. So in this venue, we have 1 gig, enormous pipe. But what is not commonly understood about Wi-Fi is how it works. So if I put 2,000 people onto 1 gig, it's going to run slow. Think of it a bit like the M25, okay? If you're the only car on the M25, you're going to go around the M25 at lightning speed. But if the M25 is gridlocked, then you're going to go around very, very slowly. So it's not just about either free Wi-Fi or I've got 100 meg of pipe. The key question to ask is how big is your pipe? How many people are going to go onto that Wi-Fi? And is what's called the contention rate correct? So I'm going to introduce your viewers to the concept of contention rate. Look it up, work it out, and when you go to a Wi-Fi, ask about contention. And I think in the best venues now, then it's perfectly possible to get dedicated Wi-Fi bandwidth. You can get your own code, and you can be protected from what else might be going on in the venue. I mean, we don't have any bedrooms, but if people are using a hotel with bedrooms, you can often have people sitting in the bedrooms upstairs watching movies online, and the Wi-Fi is completely useless. So understanding how the Wi-Fi is provided and what protection you can be given to ensure that speed is good. And you've been talking about apps earlier. I mean, just download a very simple speed test app onto your phone and try it out while you're on the site visit.
So you recommend when an event organizer is touring a venue to download the speed test app and just try it out wherever they are?
Well, it's one way to test.
And are you happy for them to do that here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely. I mean, we've put a lot of investment in, and our Wi-Fi is good. But equally, I think too many of our clients are not knowledgeable enough about how Wi-Fi works, and it's not as difficult as some people make out.
So I thought your M225 example was brilliant, and it totally makes sense. So is Wi-Fi from etc.venues, do you have a free option and then a paid option, or are there just different packages, or how does that work?
I'd like to get more people to pay for Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
It's proving incredibly difficult, and I think what you said at the beginning, which is Wi-Fi is top of the list. I think it's got to be included. But I think clients also need to recognise it's expensive to put in and needs to be part of the overall package.
Okay, fair enough. Good. All right, so that leads me to my next pet peeve. For me, it's a big pet peeve, plugs. When I go to an event, I can't count the number of times where my phone's dying, and I feel like I'm part of my phone, and I'm going to die as well. So when I do a lot of tweeting, I take pictures of the speaker, and then my phone's dead after about, halfway through the event. But I've been to places where I've got plugs everywhere. How about with your venues? Does that go into your mind when you're planning a venue?
It does. I'm with you. I mean, funny enough, the venue this morning, mine was out and I asked for a lead, and I did get one, but too often I don't, and unfortunately, people like you that nick our leads the whole time, and they're not cheap. Look, what can we do about it? I think two things. We'd like to remove the plug, funny enough, from the equation.
Okay.
So we're introducing these pods, where you just plug your USB in, and so that takes away the plug. Particularly for international visitors, all you need is the lead. We give away these little pouches which have got multiple leads as part of our giveaway. But actually, for me, we are researching right now how, for instance, if you take this tabletop, what technology we could put in so that your phone would be charging by being on this tabletop. It's already here. You can get them at home with your night light at home. You can put your phone on that and it'll charge it up. That is the future. It gets rid of the plug and the lead altogether.
There we go. We could probably stop the video right here because we've got all the innovation we need with that. All right, I have two more questions. Alastair, we've talked about design and technology, but I know you're also getting creative with art. So how can art make a difference with events?
Well, funny enough, the lady who founded etc.venues, Sally Wilton, was a collector of contemporary art. So I arrived with an existing collection of about 100 pieces. I mean, the thing with contemporary art is you either hate it or love it, and but the main thing is it's a talking point. We tend to put it in spaces where, if you're talking over a cup of coffee, or we were talking earlier about networking, can we provide a piece of art that maybe two people, just as they might do in an art gallery, could sort of come together and then start talking about the picture, and it's a catalyst. So it's just part of the design. And then we've followed an artist called Matt Wilde very closely, who we absolutely love, and he does some fantastic urban pieces on London and city centres. Matt Wilde. We quite like neon light art. We've used a bit more of that recently.
That's
got
different,
the most
a little funky.
Fantastic life-size horse at the Hatton.
A horse?
And actually our latest thinking is to provide art that is specially designed for selfies. So we're getting a lot more selfies in the
Is that a
venues.
marketing ploy there?
Yeah,
why not, right?
But a lot of people like to take selfies.
Of course.
And so we've thought about where the selfie spot might be, and
You did mention next generation delegate.
Yeah. So they like to put stuff on Instagram, and they want to tell their friends on Facebook, and some of them are very good at taking good photographs. So we little bit thinking about that, and some of it's around that. It's a small thing we can do.
No, it's brilliant. It just adds to the delegate experience, I think.
And if you look at our Twitter feed, you'll see lots of examples of selfies.
So do you have a selfie on your Twitter feed?
No.
No? Okay.
I think if I did a selfie, my kids would just destroy me.
Do you have Twitter?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right, so I have one last question.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're talking about the future here. So what do you think, what are you looking at? What's going to be the next big innovation for meetings and events?
Well, it's a great question. I'm not sure it's a single one I've got, but I think we'll see more use of social media pre, during, and post events as a way of getting even better engagement. And, making sure that people who commit to a face-to-face experience, coming to a venue, really understand that there's a whole heap of a better experience doing that than sitting watching a webinar or something. I think I get asked a lot about great speakers, and I know for a lot of organisers the affordability of speakers is an issue. So I think the technology for the hologram speaker could get better. It's still very expensive. I've seen a couple which I think have been amazing.
So it's interesting. Can we touch on that? So hologram speakers, you brought that up because you were saying speakers are expensive. Obviously, the tech will get cheaper over time, so the tech cost may not be an impact. But how does that reduce the cost of a speaker? Because the speaker still has to speak; he's just not here, or she's not here.
Well, I think some of it can be a bit innovative. So if you want an icebreaker, you imagine put George Clooney or something just to say hi guys, and all he does is just say welcome to this event and great to see you all, and we're going to see it's a huge novelty factor. I mean, I saw one the other day where Prince Charles had given a speech about climate change through a hologram, and you would never get someone like Prince Charles to a typical event. Therefore the unattainable speaker could be attainable. I just think that it started. It's still very expensive. Very few people are doing it. You're asking me about what might come next. I think we could see a bit more.
That's fascinating.
A bit more of the of a vogue for it. It'll come and go quite quickly because the novelty will wear off.
Yeah. Do you think that venues will then offer that as a package and just resell it, or do you think that the organizer will bring that in themselves?
I think should
pick
be...
your Prince Charles package or your George Clooney package.
It can be part of, a good salesperson's armoury, as well as showing people round and pointing out the obvious. We want to be saying to them, what's your event about? How can we add value? And actually that's where you get into a different level of conversation rather than, just selling the venue. We want to become facilitators of great events as well as being good venue hosts.
Brilliant. That's wonderful. Well, thank you very much for hosting us and for coming on the show. It's a brilliant space here. Highly recommend you check it out. Do you want people to go to your website, to your social media, to your Twitter? Where do you want people to go?
Well, it's at etc.venues for the Twitter feed.
Good.
And www.etcvenues.co.uk.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.
Cheers.